Week 12 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few wide receivers I have as sleepers this week. The first receiver, Andrei Iosivas of the Cincinnati Bengals. Ja'Marr Chase, we know he suspended one game, spitting at Jalen Ramsey in last week's ball game in the tough loss at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Iosivas, we've seen some flashes from him when he's had an expanded role over the last couple seasons. So the last few weeks for Iosivas, Week 7 versus Pittsburgh in that one, 3 catches, 49 yards. Week 8 versus Jets, 3 targets. No fantasy points. He didn't do anything in that one. Week 9 versus the Bears, 5 catches, 66 yards, a touchdown, a carry, 4 yards, and that loss 47-42. And then last week at Pittsburgh, 4 targets, 3 catches, 20 yards. So this week, not a great matchup versus New England, but this could be a game where Cincinnati's trailing early and often after chase points. And like I said, with Ja'Marr Chase suspended, Iosivas is the next man up in this offense for the Cincinnati Bengal team. And this week, I think he could be a decent sleeper for fantasy owners, and he's out there still in tons of leagues at 92%. The next receiver, Greg Dortch of the Arizona Cardinals. Greg Dortch, he's going to be starting, or at least having an expanded role once again this week for this Cardinal team. Out there, 95% of fantasy leagues. Marvin Harrison already ruled out in the first day of practice with the appendectomy. And Dortch, over the last couple weeks, he's starting to get things going a little bit. Week 10 at Seattle, 2 carries, 2 rush yards, a touchdown. And then last week, like I said, in the expanded role where Jacoby Brissett, he was just completing passes left and right in that game, even though it was a lot of garbage time. 6 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. So this week, a pretty decent matchup. Jacksonville Jaguars coming in. Their defense has been hit or miss all season long, and the Jaguars give up the 13th most fantasy points to wide receivers on the season. So like I said, Greg Dortch, we know he's more of a gadget guy, more of a slot, small receiver, but Jacoby Brissett, it doesn't matter who's out there. He's firing the football, and guys are making plays. So this week, if you need a sleeper, still with 4 teams on bye and some key injuries and Ja'Marr Chase suspended, I think he could be a decent fill-in as a sleeper this week. And the final receiver, it's Cedric Tillman of the Cleveland Browns. Tillman out there in tons of leagues at 89%. And now with Shedeur Sanders in there, I think this passing game actually could improve a little bit. And these receivers could do a little bit more in this offense for this Cleveland Brown team, where Dylan Gabriel pretty much a lot of short routes, nothing deep. He was testing the field, and more of the targets were the tight ends in Fannin and Joker more than anything when Gabriel was in there. So 2 games back off injury for Tillman. Week 10 at the Jets, 2 catches, 11 yards. In week 11 versus Baltimore, 3 catches, 52 yards on 4 targets. So this week, a good matchup at the Vegas Raiders. We just saw CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens go out there and pick apart that secondary. And the Vegas Raiders do give up the 3rd most fantasy points to wide receivers on the season. I'm not saying obviously Tillman's in the same league of Lamb or Pickens, but I'm just saying it's a good matchup and possibly could take advantage of it this week. So that's a few wide receivers I have as sleepers for week 12 of the fantasy football season.